like so many others, we listened to Velvet speak, right? And it's really, 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 really what's the word I can use? Insightful to hear her speak. And a lot of times, a lot of people, one thing that I've noticed about like in the black culture is that when black women become strong enough to tell their truth about what has happened to them, you get other people in the black culture that tries to make them feel shameful, try to belittle them, try to say like, oh, you did this and that, and just try to really like really downplay what they experienced in their life and shit. And I really think it takes a real courageous, strong woman to be able to tell her truth, knowing that all that can happen to her. There's a lot of women out there right now could be labeled as cowards. A lot of women right now could be labeled as not being as strong, as if something is happening to you, whether you being physically abused, whether you being sexually abused, whether you being emotionally abused, that they don't tell nobody. They don't say shit. They just hide somewhere. There's a lot of women like that pass judgment on this woman, Velvet. Those same kind of women who don't even have the courage to really speak out to the world and tell their truth so they can be able to get a different perspective or to be able to release that pain off their soul. They will talk shit about Velvet, and I think that shit is like fucked up. And one thing that she did before I go into one thing that she did really like say that kind of like touched me on it is that it's like people pass judgment on other people in the culture, especially black people. They'll pass judgment on another person, but they done fucked up shit. They done been in some crazy ass situations and had to make moves and do shit that they really didn't want to do and all that type of shit. But when somebody else do something similar to what they did, or somebody else do similar shit how they responded, they so quick to point the finger and be like, "Oh, you a bad person. Oh, you fucked up." And then it's just like weird to me. It's like nobody really can pass judgment on anybody really, because we all human beings. We all make mistakes. We all trying to find our ways on this journey in this thing called life, man. We all trying to find some sense of happiness. We all like trial and error shit. We try this and we try that or whatever it may be. So it's really not passing. A person can really pass judgment all that they can, but they can pass. I feel like you pass judgment on your own truth and shit. So when I hear Velvet speak, it's like it's her telling her truth, about being abused by a nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? By being sexually abused, by being physically abused. And people will take the fact of Velvet like going back and forth to that situation as her being a weak person. But I don't look at it as being weakness. I look at that as being strength. Because the way she explained it is like, if you're in a relationship, right? And this is what separates real relationships from fake relationships. And this was separates strong women from weak women, I should say. Is that if you go into a relationship, a lot of times women would would meet a dude and he could be broken, he could be fucked up or whatever. But what's so precious and beautiful about women and shit is that they can see something inside that fucked up ass nigga and find some good shit in him. And they will feel like, oh, I'm not looking at for who you are right now. Like just say if I was the woman speaking to the broken man, it's like I'm not looking at who you are right now. I'm looking at who you can be in the future. And I feel like if I'm around you and I sacrifice a part of myself, I can be able to heal you and help you. And if I do help heal you and everything, just be good to me. Just be good to me. And that's what I see. And a lot of black women have those attributes just like Velvet does. It's like you see somebody who may be doing the wrong shit, Because a lot of times black women they be in the relationship, so everything that affects the man sometimes affects the woman and shit. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna be saying shit. They're gonna be able to see. That's one thing that's the powerful of a woman too, is that if she really cares about a dude, she really seeing shit that dude does not see. That's another thing. A lot of times, like anybody listening to this, like especially dudes and shit, like you could be in a situation, your woman be like, hey, excuse me, your woman be like, hey, that dude ain't shit. Or hey, don't go out that night. Or hey, that girl you hanging around with wants to fuck with you, or whatever like that. And the dude just downplay it like it ain't shit, like the girl is just psycho, whatever. But she be speaking the real shit. She borderline psychic with that shit. She able to peep shit out before it even happens. It's like prevention before solution. She's trying to stop it from happening. Because if something happens, it's going to affect who she is as a person. And she may not want to go deal with that shit. So I see that a lot. I notice that a lot, you know what I'm saying? And what I've been around with certain strong women and shit, and I noticed that quality in Velvet too as well. Um, to move on forward and shit like that is it's important, man. It's really important for any woman that's being abused in any type of situation is to be able to speak your truth. And a part of the healing part is to be honest about what the fuck happened to you. Just be honest about it and then try to heal from it as much as you possibly can. Because we all trying to find answers to certain questions in our life. We all trying to figure out why this happened, when did this happen, and how did this happen, and all that type of stuff. So sometimes we put ourselves in situations in order to find those answers and shit. It happens like that. But for individuals to be able to look at any woman that's ever been battered and bruised, has ever been raped, sexually abused, or anything like that, and look at that shit as something to be laughing about, or looking at that shit like it ain't real, I feel like that person is a fucked up ass person and shit who thinks like that. Who actually will look at a person who's been in those situations and just be like, ha ha ha, and downplay it like it ain't shit or whatever, and not really understanding how that affects a female's life and shit. It affects a female life way, way different than what you actually realize and shit as a person who may not have been through those type of things and shit. So I feel like every woman um should be appreciated and should be adorned and should be looked at as a strong person when they can come out and they can tell what they feel about what the fuck happened to them. And that's what she did. You know what I mean? And I looked at it and everything like so many other people, and I really dissected probably in a different way than other people dissected it and everything like that. Is when I listened to her speak, I mean, she passionate about herself. She's passionate about what she put her energy into. And she's passionate about, humanity in the world. Other people may look at it from different things and stuff like that. And that's what's wrong with the culture too, is that a person, even as a kid, you could do 100 things right. But black people will look at those two things that you did wrong and shit like that and try to crucify you with that shit. And this shit is unfair, of course. But you know what I mean? It's just like I see more beauty into what she's saying and more beauty into her soulfully than what people say about her and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I really feel like you have to be able, as a woman, you have to be able to tell what happened to you. You have to be able to speak to other survivors and shit. Because women are one of the realest lovers ever. You know what I'm saying? They sacrifice a lot more shit than men sacrifice in relationships, especially when it comes to emotions and feelings. Emotions and feelings are way more than what a man can buy a woman and what a man can pretty much get for a woman. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that it's really priceless on that shit. I mean, you really can't put no price on the love that a woman gives to another human being, especially somebody that she loves in a relationship. Those emotions and shit and those feelings and those things like that, you can't put no price on it because women love harder than men. They do. A lot of women, I've been around females and shit, especially around teenage years, and I've seen them. be the same age as dude, like 16, 17 years old, and they never really been in a relationship like that, but they dictating to the nigga like, hey, you ain't supposed to do that. You ain't supposed to do this. It's like they smarter, like they already know what the situation is. And this is the problem, you know what I'm saying, right now in the world. I feel like it's like too many niggas out here crushing the crowns on these women's heads. These women's are queens out here. And they get with niggas and shit, and the nigga don't want them to be no queen. Niggas don't want them to be able to speak their mind and tell them how they feel, or be their authentic self, or to be able to tell a nigga, hey, you moving wrong, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? You should be moving this way. If that's your goal, then you moving in a fucked up ass way, man. That's really going to be like catastrophic. So once you take my advice and move in this direction, so instead of the dude really understanding that shit and really taking it for what it is and really respecting the mind of his woman and shit like that, he would think some other weird ass shit about it. Oh, you tripping, or oh, trying to downplay it as something to be weird when it's not, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what this world has moved away from, is the values and the opinions and the mindset of the woman. The queens. The queens are being looked at as peasants. The queens are being looked at as, if you're a strong woman, probably a dude probably don't want to be with you. If you make more money than the dude, he probably don't want to be with you. If you love harder than the dude, he don't want to be with you. If you opinionated about some shit that he's doing fucked up that's affecting you and your family, he don't want to hear that shit. And I really think women need to stop really dealing with niggas and start really looking at kings. And not the word king as far as like how a dude would say, like a lot of dudes say, I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king, this, that, and that. I was born a king. No, a king is like standing on principles and morals and ethics and shit like that, man. You know what I'm saying? That's righteous. That's for the betterment of the family. Once you become a king, you become like the provider, protector of like a nation. And sometimes your nation is just your family in the beginning. If you're bringing kids in the world, if you got kids in the world right now and you call yourself a king, that means you are a king to everybody that's really involved with the upbringing of the child and the woman who helps you create the child. Right? The king is not to be overbearing and the controller and the ruler of the woman and shit. It's to work in harmony and work in some type of partnership with them to be able to accomplish the goal or whatever the family set forth. That's what the king pretty much is. And to be intelligent enough and to be savage-like enough and to be and move in a certain kind of way where he can get those things for his family and get those things for his woman without bringing harm to them reputation-wise or physically or anything like that. You know, that's a part of being a king. Every man is not a king. Boys, there's men, they're kings. Like boys have jobs, men have careers, kings have empires, if you want to put it in that aspect. And you can flip it to the other genre. You know what I'm saying? Like girls have jobs, women have careers, and queens have empires. And I think like today's women need to really really look more deep into the man that they give they emotions and their feelings and their energy to, like that. You know what I mean? A man, I feel like a king is really designed to build shit for his woman. He's supposed to build shit for her. It's like kind of like in the old days and shit like that. And I know a lot of, young cats and shit like that, pretty much was shot from that. Oh, that's some old school shit. But I really have to look at what works and shit. Right? I have to really look at what works, man. What practice in the black family kept black families together, if that's the goal. If the goal is for the black family to be strong as fuck, and the goal is for the black family to be unified, what duties and responsibilities did that black man have to be able to embody in order for that family to be that way? That's what I have to be able to look at. What era in history did that shit happen at? And I have to look at that shit, and I have to really adopt some of those philosophies on top of mine, and then be able to do what's best for the family and shit like that, and do what's best for myself and for the queen. That's how I look at it. And back in the day, it was pretty much, there was a more respect for your woman. Like when I look at like my granny in them days and shit like that, when he used to tell me these stories and shit, like the dude would work like all fucking week, right? He'll work all week, and then when he get paid, what he do is he give his whole fucking paycheck to his woman. And his woman would take that money and shit, and she would extend the dollar, right? She would go and if she had $100, she would have like $300 worth of shit in the house. Like she would like clip the coupons. She would have some deals. She wouldn't buy that shit. She would be able to make the dollar work for the family and shit because she respected what the fuck the man was doing in order to bring that money into the household. And the man respected the woman for taking that $100 and turning it into 300. So it was a different type of love and it was a different type of appreciation for each other in those times. And that's what I like, dude. I like that old school way of doing shit. If we're talking about strong black families, I have to look at that era in history and be able to like, what did the black man do? Because the black man did sacrifice his own personal desires for the betterment of the family. That's what really made you a king. You know what I'm saying? Like when she was like saying something about their child or whatever, that he's more concerned about his own desires than being with being a good father to his kid and shit like that. And that's her perspective. Like I can't really look at that shit and be able to look at it as anything but what she's saying it is, because she's the mother of that child and she's been around the father of that child, and that's her perspective on it, and that's how she feel about it. And I really looked at the subject of it is that too many niggas out here is really thinking about their own fucking personal motherfucking desires, like they sexual desires and shit. They would rather sacrifice their family to go fuck with a whole bunch of bitches, or sacrifice the future of their generation, their family, and go fuck with a whole bunch of niggas out here in the street, or put itself in life and death situations and shit to fucking to look good or to be admired by niggas in the streets, or females out there who don't even have their best interest at heart, who would care even less what happens to their family and shit like that. And that shit happens like every day. Every day. And that's a generational curse. And I remember her saying shit like, doing this perpetuating, you know what I mean, the generational curses and shit like that, which is, which is true, which is her perspective and her truth. You know what I'm saying? It's like at some point, if the black man is going to be able to heal his family and bring his family together, there has to be some sacrifice from him. And you can't force no woman to be into some situation that she don't want to be in. Because you have to, if you want the pure love of a woman, she's going to require certain things for you to have that pure love. If you want the strength of a woman to be able to help you with anything, that's not something that she's just going to be able to give away free like that for you to be able to abuse. Any man to be able to abuse that love that she's giving you, that unconditional love that's dealing with those beatings and dealing with the sexual abuse and all that type of shit. Those sacrifices is being put out there and stuff so the man can change to be a better person. It's the woman. That's why I said the woman is so real with that crown on her motherfucking head. It's like she's willing to sacrifice her soul for the betterment of the person she care about. That is a beautiful fucking thing, man. And it's really hard to find women who really feel like that right now. Most women in the world right now is really trying to get these niggas out here. Like, for real. They trying to, like, get what they can out of it. And to me, I really can't blame them to a certain degree and shit, because so many of them been fucked up. Niggas been fucking up these females' heads for the longest time. And sometimes the female ain't gonna keep on taking that shit. And sometimes the females be like, you know what? I'm about to get you before you get me. And it happened like that. I think that's just human nature. Like, you can't keep on abusing the baby cat in the corner and shit for them to and expect that shit to keep on going. One day the baby cat gonna grow up. One day the baby cat gonna mature. And you're gonna be sitting one day doing some other shit, and the motherfucking cat gonna swipe your motherfucking ass with them sharp ass motherfucking claws and scratch the shit out your ass, because it's gonna remember what you did to him when it was less mature, when it was weak. It's gonna happen. It's like human nature shit. So I feel like that's the same way with a female and shit. They don't never forget that abuse. Ever. They may look like they happy. They may pretend like they happy. They may do all those different types of things or whatever like that. But inside their soul and shit, they don't forget that shit. And at some point, niggas out here are really, really lucky that they're not dead and in the cemetery for some of the shit they done did to these women. Because women can kill too. They're just gonna kill you in a different type of way. They can kill too. You can push a button on a female and shit like that emotionally. She might be able to do something to put you in the cemetery, or she might do something to put her ass in a jail cell. A lot of these women are queens and shit, but on the surface they may look like something else and shit, but they have the ability to take life and shit. And they have the ability to strike back. So I don't think you ever can underestimate the woman's power of her mind and the power of her soul and the power of her getting back to her authentic self and seeing that fucking crown on their head. Because a lot of these niggas are every day trying to knock the crowns off the woman's head. Every single day. These niggas see a crown on this woman's head, they're gonna try to knock that shit on off. They don't want women to be strong no more and shit. They don't want women to be opinionated. And my thing is like, if you are any man of any type of righteousness, or you are any type of king in any type of shape or form, you want your woman to be strong. You want her to be stronger than you, to be 1,000 about it. You really want her to be better than you. And as much as she's around you, that's what you're supposed to be doing every day, teaching her shit so she can surpass you. That is what's supposed to be happening. It's supposed to be a straight teaching type of situation and a straight loving and nurturing situation. You're supposed, a man, a king, is supposed to always, every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as much as he possibly can, as long as he got breath on this earth. If you love a woman or you're in a relationship with a woman, you're supposed to be making her the strongest that she can ever possibly be. You're not supposed to be fucking trying to destroy her. And if you're trying to destroy her in any old kind of way, then you're not a king, and you're just sabotaging that woman's life, man. You're wasting her time. And why you want to destroy a black woman anyway? Why you want to destroy a woman anyway? She don't even necessarily have to be a black woman. Why would you want to destroy a woman that loves you unconditionally? It's something really fucked up about a man who's willing to do that shit every day and put that energy out there. So when I listen to Velvet, it's just amazing to me, man, how it's still that much strength in her after everything she's been through. That's another amazing thing to me. You know, when people look at being in relationships, or when people look at being like in a carbonation shit or whatever like that, and a lot of times people say the people that leave, that they are the worst persons, or they're the cowards, and they're this, that, and that. And they got all these little weird ass names for them. But the thing is like, if you're able to leave a fucked up situation, that's strength right there. Would you think? Like, you know what I'm saying? And for her to be able to plan it out the way she said it, and for her to be able to do shit that she did not want to be able to do, just for her to get some freedom, just for her to escape with her and her daughter, that is like amazingly beautiful. That is like some serious, serious strength, because a lot of women can't do that. A lot of women can't subject themselves to that type of situation and still be able to escape that environment that's destroying them, and take their child with them. You know, because a lot of people look at it like with the baby and shit. A lot of people will look at it like, oh, she's keeping the baby away from dude or whatever it may be. And sometimes in black relationships, the women will allow their children to be around the fucked up ass nigga. And I feel like that's crazy as hell. I feel like if a black woman is with this dude, right, and they got a baby, and the black man is treating that woman like shit, I don't think you should have access to that child. There's no way that you can honor a child more than you can honor the woman that helped you create the child. You see what I'm saying? I don't think you can jump over the woman to get to the kid. And I really think that there should be more parents out here for fucked up ass people and their family. Not necessarily just the father, or it could be the mother, or it could be an uncle, it could be a sister, it could be a cousin. The child should not be uh um um around these individuals that are fucked up. If I got a kid, right, and I know my uncle is fucked up, I'm not going to allow my kid to be around my uncle because he's my uncle, just because you got that title. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to be an uncle, then you have to be able to practice the duties and responsibility that an uncle is supposed to practice with his nephew. And if you're not doing that for me, I can't bring my kid around. You're not going to fuck my kid head up. And that's what happens in our childhood a lot. If we look at our childhood a lot right now, especially a lot of women have been raped and molested and abused by family members and shit. When they mothers and fathers knew that person wasn't shit, but they still dropped them over at that fucking house to babysit and shit. And next thing you know, that dude is doing some weird shit to them kids, man. That shit gotta stop. We gotta stop that pretty much in the culture and shit. I don't give a fuck if the dude made the kid or not. If you can't honor the woman that fucking help you create that kid, you shouldn't even be around a kid like that. And the mothers, I feel you should let your child know what kind of father that is. What type of man? Don't because I've seen it too many times in the black culture. They be like, "Oh, I'm gonna let the kid decide on his own if they're gonna be." No, you don't let the kid decide shit. You give the kid the information while they making the decision. You give the kid the information. Your father was doing good in this, but you have to be honest if you're a woman. Your father was doing this. This is how we might have broke up. He started doing this shit, and I stopped fucking with him because I wasn't gonna get my ass whooped every day. I wasn't gonna be sexually abused every day. I wasn't gonna let that dude do whatever, and shit like that because I'm a strong woman, and that's not supposed to happen to me because I loved your father for real life. You know what I'm saying? So you supposed to tell your child that shit. Your child's supposed to take that information and understand that first before they even eventually get around their fathers in the future and shit. I think that's supposed to happen. You can't, because so many people talking about, oh, you're supposed to keep it real with your kid and everything. Well, that's keeping it real with your child. And if a woman feels like, hey, who you are as a man, based on their experiences with you, who you are and stuff, I don't want my child to grow up like that and shit like that. A woman should have some sense of responsibility to be able to take them from that fucking dude that's doing the weird shit. Cause look at it. What's gonna happen when the kid get older? Peep it out. If when the kid get older, and just say that a woman did that. Say the woman said, forget about all the crazy monster shit that your dad is doing. I'ma still have you have a relationship with your father, right? And that dude starts fucking up that kid's brain or whatever, and all the harmful shit that the mother see, now the father is projecting on the kid. And the kid is going through his own traumas now as they get older. You know what the fuck the kid's gonna say when they get older? They're gonna be like, Mom, why'd you have me around that nigga? That's what they're gonna say. They're gonna blame the mother in the future. Once they get older and start realizing what the fuck it really is and shit like that, they're gonna start blaming the mother and shit. So the mothers shouldn't even put themselves in a situation. You feel like your child is in danger, you protect your kid, man. I think that's just like number one. If you feel like, especially in her situation where she's saying she did do a lot of emotional sacrifice and physical sacrifice and sexual sacrifice so her daughter can be around the father and shit like that. And then still find out that he's still like on some monstrous type of shit. I mean, you got to give her props for removing her kid from that type of environment. You can't talk shit about her like that. How can you though? That takes strength to do that. A lot of parents, a lot of women have their kids right now around fucked up ass niggas, man. Right now. You know what I'm saying? And childhood traumas are being built like right now. You know what I'm saying? So I think it takes strength for that. You know what I'm saying? To be able to protect your kid, man. And that's what we have to be able to do more in our culture. We gotta protect the children. We gotta put our arms around the children. We gotta embrace the children, which is the future of our bloodlines and shit. And we gotta protect them by all costs, even if we lose our own life sometimes, man. We gotta protect them. You know what I mean? Our whole existence. Once you have a kid, I feel like your whole existence changes to be able to be a better person for yourself, so you can be a better person for the child. You know what I'm saying? You can't be playing around though and shit like that. You really gotta put that work in because the kid gonna figure it out and shit. You can't be pretending. You gotta be honest. You know what I'm saying? You gotta try to make the child, or not try to make the child, but you have to be able to give the child options and alternatives in life, not to take what society and the environment is giving them, but take a different type of teaching and let the kid know that you're a great person. Who you are and what you think and what you want to be and stuff is great because you are unique and it's just real. It's science and DNA and shit. Like, you know, when a child is born, there's no child in the world like that child. That child is special. So a parent should be able to see that in their kid and everything, and then put them in certain environments where that special shit can be able to. You don't put them in an environment that's gonna kill that gift that they got from God and kill that gift that they got from their ancestors, whatever, within the DNA and shit. You don't want to do that shit, so you gotta protect the kid, man. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it on that end. But when I you know, because the message got cut short for whatever reason and stuff like that when she was talking, but she did give out a lot of valuable information, and I really feel like it's not for people to necessarily ridicule her, because I know I've seen some people like, oh, you might go back, oh, you didn't say that while you was when you got married, and they just really missing the whole thing and shit like that. It's like people make mistakes on shit, and sometimes when you are really trying to change a person, like I said, a lot of women will look at it, do, and that's what's so brilliant about them and shit like that, to have that gift. And a lot of men got that gift too, though. Now I'm not can't take it away from the men, but I think that's a gift that a lot of kings and queens have, is that when you can look at somebody you like or you care about or that you cool with, and you can be like, look, you are this way now. You may got some fucked up things about you. You may went through some fucked up ass shit, but if you can look at that and see some positivity, because in every negative there's a positive. So if you can look, if your vision is that pristine that you can really look at it and say like, damn, you are a good person inside, and I'm gonna do whatever I can do to make you see that shit. Because a lot of times people don't even see that they're great in something. They don't see that they're beautiful. They just look at the bad shit that's about them. But if somebody's willing to sacrifice themselves for you, so you can see that you're a better person, is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. That is a rare ass trait to have in the society that we live in right now. And it's also a very rare trait in the black community too, to be able to feel that way about a person. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody really, not everybody, but a lot of people and stuff, it's really a competition right now between the black woman and the black man and shit. They're trying to outdo each other. They're trying to compete with each other instead of just uniting together, respecting each other's power and shit. You know what I'm saying? And being able to respect, you know what I'm saying, each other's mind and how they want to be able to do shit, and then really take that power and try to put it together and create some happiness and some harmony, whatever. But sometimes you can't do it. Sometimes you can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is like in closing, when I look at everything that she said and everything, I really gotta commend her on it. You know, I really gotta be able to look at it and say that she should be able to look at this whole situation and like how she said, be able to heal from it. And it's probably gonna take time. It ain't gonna take time that people say that she should heal. It's gonna take time for her own self. There really is no specified time. It's just gonna be whenever she feels ready to do certain things, and certain things that she's gonna change in her life, and certain goals that she have may change, certain, or how she's able to do it or whatever like that. The way she is with her family, I heard her talk about her family and stuff in the beginning of it. Um, it's just gonna take a certain amount of time, but it's really good that she's able to speak and get it off her soul, and that is courageous when you're able to talk to the world and you be able to cry. And she said that she don't like crying or whatever like that. But sometimes you can't fight them tears, man, like that. Sometimes them tears are so overwhelming because the pain is so compounded that the human brain is like releasing that shit and don't give a fuck if you give it permission or not, because it has to get it off you. Sometimes those tears and stuff is like wiping dirt off your soul. You know what I'm saying? And cleaning yourself again in the healing process and shit. There's nothing to be able to look at as a weakness, because a lot of men feel like when they cry they become they consider weak or whatever. But a lot of times when a man cry and shit like that, he won't go kill somebody. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you don't cry, I've been in situations like that. I've been in situations where, you know what I'm saying, where I've been so mad at some shit, at a nigga, whatever, what the fuck he done did, not to get all personal like that, but what he done did, and I felt like, playing the end game on that shit. I feel like doing something to that person, and then I had to really think about it, and then I had to really look at it like how it would change my life, and become emotional about it to a certain degree that made me not go get that gun, made me not go playing that shit on out, made me not go wait for that dude wherever he at and do what I felt like was necessary and shit. So sometimes when a woman cries and shit, it's really stopping her from doing some real fucked up shit to the person that caused the trauma. I can understand that shit because it didn't happen to me. So I really feel like there's probably going to be more of what she has to say. You know what I mean? I don't feel like she's done. You know what I mean? I feel like she should say more. I feel like, every survivor of any fucked up situation should tell their story. If you survive, if God allowed you to survive, then one of the responsibilities of being a survivor is to spread awareness to other people so they can become survivors. It's like you're supposed to be able to help in that type of way. I feel like you owe that to God. I feel like God is partially the reason why people are able to become survivors and get out of fucked up situations. But God, I feel like, just don't save you for you to just go on your life. I feel like you owe something to God to be able to save other women and other people that's been in other fucked up ass situations, and tell them your story, and tell them how you got out, and tell them what things that you went through and everything to make your life better so you got out that situation. And I feel like you got to be able to share that.